Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game of the Day number 5, featuring me versus Angry Polish Dude, who was rated at the time 1751, I think. Yeah. And, this was a very nice game I had, I think. Because I mean, that's 96.3 is a really nice accuracy. And I didn't really make too many mistakes. I had a missed win and one mistake, and that was really it. And I feel like I capitalized on my opponent's mistakes fairly well. And the story the story with them being, angry Polish guy or dude or whatever. We don't discriminate here, girl, guy, whatever. Is after I capitalized on a certain one of their mistakes, they called me. Well, they wrote in the chat calling me a certain name, which includes two swear words out of three. Well, I mean, they wrote it in Polish, but out of the three words that they wrote, two of them were swear words, and the other one was, just in between them. So they were very unhappy. Maybe they thought I was cheating. I did not cheat. I don't use engines to win games. I'm a real player. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. But this was my first game after taking like a 1 week break from playing, so it was pretty nice. Anyway, let's get into it. We're gonna. Alright, so they started out with d4. I played e6. That is what I play against d4, hoping for a possible transposition into the French. Or I just get to play Indian defenses, like the Nimzo Indian, Queen's Indian, whatever. But then they play e3, which is fine, like whatever. It's a little passive, but So I played knight f6, which transposes back into known theory after they play knight f3. We're now in the call system, kind of like the London system, but you don't put your bishop on f4. So, yeah. I play d5, just book moves. They play bishop d3. I play c5, and they play c3. Just basic stuff here. I play knight c6, which is fine. Computer wanted bishop d6, but doesn't really matter. They castle, and now I play bishop d6. And then they play knight bd2. So, this is all just normal stuff. We're fairly simple. I just castle, and, they play h3. So we've been playing a lot of the best moves. And I play h6, which is fine. It wanted me to strike in the center with e5. I didn't quite want to do that yet, and so I just played h6. They strike in the center with e4. I take the e pawn. Computer wanted me to take the d pawn, but I just wanted to take the e pawn. They take back with the knight. I take that with my knight. They take with the bishop. I take that pawn. Just a bunch of exchanges. Yeah, here I really thought they were just going to take this pawn back. But I was surprised when they actually traded off their bishop for the knight, because it really doesn't help them at all. Like, I now have, according to the computer, a small advantage because they don't have the bishop pair anymore. So, not good. Would I just click on? No. Why? Misclicking, am I right? Or am I right? How long have I been doing this? All right, we got plenty of time. Plenty of time. Oh, boy. All right, so where were we? We were right. Nope. No, how did we get there? No. Okay. So, yeah. So when they took the knight, I was pretty surprised. yeah, I just, they're trading off the bishop pair for literally no reason at all. So, you know, anyway, I take back. They take with the knight. Again, I was pretty surprised because I thought they would have taken with the pawn for like, generally you want pawns in the center. They've got no pawns in the center, so whatever. That's what they want to do. I played queen f6. The computer wanted me to play bishop a6. I don't think. I mean, yeah, queen f6 doesn't really do too much. I just wanted my queen on a more active square. Um, really, the reason why this is inaccurate, I just kind of hung this pawn for no reason. But I figured if they take it, I should be okay. So, because I just wanted, yeah. So they took it, and then I played bishop c7 when I wanted to get my bishop here, and I would just have everything kind of like pointing at their king, and maybe I could eventually bring like a rook over or something. So that was the plan. They went back to d4. I went with my plan, played bishop b7. Then they played f4, which was the best move. I played rook to d8, just bring my rooks to the center. And they played queen g4, which I wasn't like too happy about because I was like, their queen is getting very active. Then this, like, there were threats that I was not too happy about, but I was still mostly happy with my position. Like queen g4, yeah, it's a good move, but I was still happy with my position. I played bishop c8, which looks pretty dumb, but it just had this basic idea of like trying to like win a piece like that because discovered attack. Not the best move, but whatever. They played f5, which I did not realize how bad f5 was when I first, looked at it. Because I thought, like, after I took here, I really thought they could probably just, like, take back. But as it would turn out, that doesn't really go so well. Just because, like, the computer says so. I mean, yeah. It's basically because it walks into this pin, so I can just add pressure onto this knight, and you're losing the knight, so. But I missed that in the game, so that's where my missed win came from. I played e5 here, and then my opponent made yet another mistake, not protecting the pawn and going back to c2, but just leaving it hanging, and I take with tempo. Bishop takes f5, and they make a mistake again. Like, I did not think that they would do this. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, maybe I didn't have this in between check, but as you can see, like, the threat is just go here and fork. But I have this, and they're threatening to take my bishop, but I have this in between move, this check, and then there's nothing they can do, and I'm just up in exchange now. So, I mean, this is just bad. Like, they played knight d2, discovering an attack on my queen. Here, I got excited, and I wasn't even thinking. This was definitely the best move, but I just took here. A little bit of a mistake, but it doesn't give up the advantage too much, so I'm still okay. Yeah, this was also the point where they said the not so nice thing that I'm not going to say here on YouTube. Yeah, so then they took my queen, I took back the rook, and then they take the bishop. I played king h7. Honestly, I have no idea why I played this. I think it was just to protect the pawn from this, from this bishop here. I definitely looked at this because I was like, yeah, I got to lock down the bishop from moving. Like, but for some reason I was like, yeah, let's protect the pawn, That's what I should do. But so that's what I did. Not the best move. I definitely should have gone there in retrospect, but I did not. They play knight takes b6. I recapture, and they get the bishop out to e3. So now I'm up a rook for, yeah, I have a rook for a bishop. They have an extra pawn. My pawns here are doubled, so wait, no, I just have a rook for a bishop. They don't have an extra pawn, but these pawns are doubled, so they're pretty weak. But yeah, so here I had a plan. My plan was to go here, probably like here, here. I mean, all depending on what they do, but like just try and stockpile a bunch of pressure here and then push my pawn. And like, just a ton of pressure on that square. I actually, no, not doubling here because I wanted to eventually maybe get in here if possible, but otherwise double the rooks. So here they played bishop takes, b6, which is inaccurate because I believe it allows rook d2. I have now infiltrated their back rank and added pressure to this pawn. Now the only move that they can really do is rook g1, and now their rook is glued to this square. It's never going to move. Like, it's not going anywhere. So now I'm free to capture that. They move their bishop. I capture this pawn too. They move their bishop again. And now I start pushing my pawn because this is pinned. It's just all pressure. So I start pushing my pawn, trying to get there. They play h4, which at this point I honestly thought that they had just given up. I don't know if they were still trying or not, because like h4 kind of seems pretty nonsensical, but whatever. I played f4, just continuing with my plan. They played king h3. I gave this check, rook g3, and they were forced to h2. I then played h5, stopping the progression of the h4 pawn. And now they began to attack my pawns from the back with their bishop. So I played f6, defending my e5 pawn. They played c4, just trying to, their last hope, trying to promote this pawn. I just put my rook behind it. Now they can't promote it anymore, and the game is essentially lost. They just continued to push and bring my king to g6. They played bishop e7. I play rook g4. I was kind of baiting the king to try and get it to come over here, because then I would get to deliver this check, and again, their position is just completely falling apart. So they do play that, which is the best move, but, rook c3 check, and, the only move here is g3, and, then they're just gone. So they just let themselves get checkmated, and that was the game. So, yeah, I was still, I'm recovering from, like, losing a ton of rating points. Like, I'm not up to 1,500 yet, but this certainly helped. It got me from, like 1450 something all the way up to 1471 at that point. So it was pretty great. And I think this is probably one of my best games I've ever played, to be honest, because, I mean, I didn't mess up severely. I overlooked, like, one basic thing, like my missed win. I overlooked something, just one thing. The mistake I made wasn't so severe that I like completely gave up the advantage. I still had a very strong advantage, so I don't even consider that too much of a mistake. So the mistake was really fine. The missed win was just me overlooking something, just because I didn't really want to complicate things too much, because I didn't want to use too much time. As you can see, after that move, I used like a whole minute. I didn't I was just like, all right, just play e5 and go, because I've gotten into time trouble so many times. I hate it, and so I was just like, just make the move and go, So that was the only thing I really did. Other than that, I pretty much capitalized on all their mistakes. I found the best moves, and yeah, I'm really happy with how I played. So that concludes today's game of the day. And yeah, I'll probably have, obviously I'll have more game of the days. I might have some other stuff like on maybe openings. I don't know. Openings might be a cool thing to do. I've got some cool openings that I could show people. Not all of them, because I do have some of them that are a little bit more secret. I don't want to give away all of them to the world, but some of them I might show a few. But that concludes today's game of the day, and thank you for watching if you got this far. And yeah, you should like subscribe to the channel and watch this video or whatever. I don't know how to do an outro, but thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like random chess content, and I will see you next time. Adios.